You just dance and sing and enjoy, and soon they will be taken over. That's how we are going to take over the whole America.
Rajneesh Update, a 1-hour News 8 special focusing on issues and questions raised by the Rajneesh presence in Oregon. Your hosts, Kathy Smith and Bill Agatuda.
Good evening, I'm Kathy Smith.
And I'm Bill Agatuda. The much-feared takeover of Wasco County government by the Rajneeshis failed to materialize in the November 6th election, while speculation continues about the future of an estimated 2,300 street people who were bused to the Big Muddy Ranch.
The fears of many Oregonians have been tempered since the election, but many questions remain unanswered. Where did these people come from, and what do they want in Oregon?
Tonight, News 8 focuses on these questions, beginning with a review of the sannyasins, their beliefs, and their history.
Some of what you'll see this evening was first broadcast in a News 8 special on October 21st, but much has changed in just 4 weeks. This special report from John Tuttle.
Riding down the canyon to watch the sun go down, a picture that no artist ever could paint.
For most of us, our introduction to the Rajneeshis was with our introduction to Bhagwan. And Bhagwan was an eccentric guru who'd moved to Oregon. The interesting thing about him was that he drove Rolls Royces, one at a time, but he drove a lot of them.
Sagebrush everywhere, granite spires are standing all around. I'll tell you folks, it's heaven to be riding down the trail to watch that desert sun go down.
Bhagwan and a band of followers who wore orange clothes had moved onto the Big Muddy Ranch in central Oregon. The Big Muddy was big, 100 square miles of it. And in those early days, that worked out to about 1 follower for every 2 square miles of what they assured us was going to be a communal farm. Bhagwan was from India, where he'd picked up a following of mostly young, often rich Europeans and Americans. A following that came to India and converted, put on the necklace with his picture, put on the orange or red clothes, picked up a new name in Sanskrit, and settled here at Pune, India, in the presence of a man they held to be a living master.
We were here about 10,000 people at a time, any given time. 7 to 10,000, I can say. And space was a problem, really.
Worldwide, the press was calling Bhagwan a sex guru because he preached total sexual freedom. He was a sex and violence guru if you'd seen a documentary called Ashram. Those who came to India spent their afternoons in meditation that included sessions like this. Mornings were set aside for discourses from Bhagwan. In India, he spoke to his followers, his sannyasins, on a daily basis. That practice ended in March of 1981 when, without warning, Bhagwan entered his silent period. Bhagwan declared there was nothing left to say.
It will not be possible to make a dogma out of my words. Anybody trying to make a creed or dogma out of my words will go nuts.
This video from Rajneesh Foundation International is Bhagwan's last words in India, his last words in public for more than 3 years.
I'm not giving you 10 commandments. I'm not giving you detailed information how to live, because I believe in the individual. You are truth, you are love, you are bliss, you are freedom.
2 months later, Bhagwan left for New Jersey. 3 months after that, he settled permanently in Oregon. And just 2 months later, in the Dalles, on a vote of 2-1, Wasco County leaders gave their okay to start the process of creating a city on the Big Muddy Ranch. The problems, conflict, anger, and polarity we see and live with today, much of it started here with that 2-1 vote in November of 1981. The argument the Rajneeshis had used was that Oregon's tough land use laws meant they couldn't have all the services their people wanted at Rancho Rajneesh. There couldn't be a printing press, or a barber shop, or the stores or a sewer system, unless they had a city. The 1,000 Friends of Oregon answered that the laws were tough with a reason, to protect farmlands from just the things the Rajneeshis were proposing.
We think it's clear that the statewide goals prevent a city at that location.
We wanted to live on our ranch peacefully. 10,000 Friends of Oregon and few ranchers create problem for us for incorporation. We want to survive. We move into Antelope. Antelope people don't want us here.
Antelope. There is no Antelope today, but when critics want to hit hard at the Rajneeshis and their tactics, they invoke the name of Antelope. The Rajneeshis, faced with the possibility of losing Rajneeshpuram in lawsuits filed by the 1,000 Friends and needing a city, began buying the closest one they could find.
Well, they have bought the old greenhouse, which is the unknown house, and property on the lower end of town, which consists of about 3 lots or 5 lots, something like that. 7 lots on the other side of town. And they're in the process of buying more, and they bought two lots and a mobile home on it. And they bought the restaurant, yes. They're strangers to us, and their mode of living is different than we're accustomed to. So it's really hard to tell.
In the beginning, locals didn't know what to make of their new Rajneeshi neighbors. But that didn't last long. Sheila denied it, but the rumor spread among the 40 old-time residents of Antelope that Sheila had said that if she could buy up enough property, she would control the taxes. The same rumor said her husband promised, if they don't sell now, they'll sell later, at my figure.
Damn right there'll be trouble. She tried to tax me out of my place, there'll be damn big trouble.
Well, I don't want these critters running around the country.
What is it about them that you're worried about?
Well, everything about them. They're not even decent. They're not Christians.
Motion has passed. The resolution is adopted.
Antelope residents scheduled an election to dissolve their community before the Rajneeshis could get it. The motto on one bumper sticker, better dead than red.
What does it accomplish by disbanding it?
Well, I think it guarantees us a place to live. The threat of taxes, I think, is real.
When the election was set, there were just 12 Rajneeshi voters living in Antelope. But in the months before the vote, others moved in. By election day, there were more than 50 registered Rajneeshi voters.
So your vote was what?
So they couldn't take over my house, which they stated that they would do. Taxes, however.
We're not after their city. We would like to have our own city incorporated here. But in the meantime, we need commercial locations so we can have our activities. It's just a matter of survival.
Final tally. Yes, 42. No, 55.
The city's lost its identity as a little western town. We who have lived here for a long time have lost our homes.
The Rajneeshis now had a reputation as steamrollers. Nothing could stand up to them. Just 10 months after they'd bought their ranch, the Rajneeshis had political control of Antelope and were close to incorporating their own city, too. There were 400 of them now, including their Bhagwan, and money seemed no object for the Rajneeshis. Their total investment was nearly $15 million.
We just keep going so fast. It's incredible. Sometimes I think, oh my goodness, I don't know if we can continue to do this. And but we just keep going.
Forward and back.
My experience being from the inside is not that we're steamrollers, but that we have a lot of energy to do things.
More than energy, the ranch hands at Rajneeshpuram were full of religious zeal. Most of them commune members, they were working for 3 vegetarian meals a day, a place to sleep, and the pleasure of being close to the man they knew was Bhagwan, the Blessed One. Those daily drive-bys weren't just a midday break for the Rajneeshis, they were a religious experience. A lot of commune members seemed overtrained, too educated and too intelligent to spend their days hoeing fields and mopping floors. This man, for example, was laying pipe at the ranch.
It's funny, in my own experience, I had a very high-status job as an opera singer, singing 5,000 people at one time and stuff, and it was like, I don't know, I don't feel that's important anymore.
Working at Rancho Rajneesh was a privilege. More Rajneeshis would apply than would be accepted. And for the faithful, working long hours every day of the week, building the city they called the expression of Rajneesh was an honor. What's more, as tour guides would later tell visitors, it wasn't work at all, because Bhagwan had told them work was worship.
Bhagwan asked that we meditate at least once a day. There are like 108 different meditations that are available to do. And for us now, at this point on the ranch, work is our meditation. 12 hours a day, 7 days a week.
The building effort had cheap labor and big bucks. The money came from the church, the Rajneesh Foundation International, a non-profit corporation whose main income was donations. Money, literally by the millions, coming from converts eager to show their love of Bhagwan. It was the church that bought the Big Muddy Ranch for $6 million and then created the Rajneesh Investment Corporation to hold it. The investment corporation paid for the materials, and a third group, members of the Rajneesh Neo-Sannyas International Commune, did the work. As secretary to the Bhagwan, Ma Anand Sheila oversees both the church and the commune. And until recently, Sheila's husband ran the investment corporation.
I think it's good time.
Okay, so blue means...
With a talent pool of planners and engineers, and a seemingly unlimited supply of money, and a workforce that gloried in worshiping 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, the Rajneeshis started with bare ground and built a city. And not just a city. With characteristic humility, the Rajneeshis announced it would be the world's best city. Or according to Sheila, even better than that.
Very beautiful city, a city, one which has never existed on the universe, where people live in harmony, people live in love. Beautiful city, example for the universe.
Side couples forward and back, head couples swing.
Outside Rancho Rajneesh, there were suspicions there was far more going on than the Rajneeshis were telling. There were lingering doubts about trusting people whose teacher seemed to be teaching, "Don't trust me."
I live in the moment. And whatsoever I am saying right now is true only for this moment.
And how big a city were the Rajneeshis planning? This is what they told us 2 years ago.
We said that in about 10-15 years, we think we might have about 2,000 people, depending on the carrying capacity of the water, depending on the carrying capacity of the land.
By the year 2000, I believe our land use projection puts it at close to 2,000.
The current population at Rajneeshpuram is more than 6,000 people. It's one point where the anti-Rajneeshi factions were more accurate in their forecasts.
The Rajneesh are working hard to get a population of 10,000 out there as soon as possible. Then they can easily soon control Wasco County. You know, what happened to Antelope can happen to the Dalles.
What happened in Antelope was just what some people expected. More than half the old-time residents have left, and those who've stayed are paying. Before the Rajneeshis, there was no city tax in Antelope. Today, the tax is nearly $20 per thousand assessed valuation. 4 times higher than the city tax in the Dalles, 3 times higher than Portland. Construction is underway to provide housing and services for a population of 600 or 700. A Rajneesh City Council controls the city government. The local school is attended only by Rajneesh children. A Rajneesh police force patrols the streets. The street names have been changed to reflect the Rajneesh religion, and now the city's name itself is gone, changed by the Rajneesh majority.
I feel many people would be proud to be a part of a community that's moving in the direction that Antelope is, and that the people who are anti are just anti any sort of change happening in this town.